It's
here
beautiful.
It's beautiful, isn't it? We're here with three guys who love sports. My name is Chuck Burge, and this is a show to help support men going through mental and physical issues. If we can take their mind off of it for an hour a week to get them focused on some sports and some fun, we'll be happy to do that. And if you'll do it, and someone else does it, we'll all be a better place and a better world for it. Again, my name is Chuck Burge. Here's my co-host, Mr. Robert Kinney.
You sound good, sir.
Thank you, sir.
It's good to have you next to me doing all that talking. Yeah, last couple of weeks really rough on me doing that extra talking.
Well, I'll see what I can do to pick up.
I
All
appreciate
right?
that.
All right. So we're here at Miller's Ale House as we are every Wednesday. And Robert, what'd you get for dinner today?
I did not actually eat
Oh,
because
that's
I
right,
have to go
'cause
to
you gotta
softball.
take your daughter to softball.
I got to skip out to go to the West Cobb Girls Fall Softball.
Lost Mountain Park?
Oh yeah, losers bracket. Down on the lower fields tonight.
Larry, what did you get?
I got the calamari.
Calamari, and I'm going with my grilled chicken salad and a little balsamic vinaigrette on the side. So every food we get here at Miller's is great. We'll hope you'll come out and join us and take care of our waitresses like Alexis. She's fabulous. And Sean Fell, the bartender. And we are rocking and rolling here at Miller's. And we want to welcome a very special guest this week.
Very special.
Very special. Not only one of the most talented guitarists and singers in Cobb County, but the writer of our theme song. Yeah, Mr. Jacob Deaton. Jacob, welcome, buddy.
Hey,
How
man.
about some applause for Jacob? There you go. Look at
Right, there it is.
that. Delayed
right.
applause.
I can do it.
We're in such a large venue.
Yeah.
It took a while
Massive.
for the people from the
Yeah.
upper decks
That's
noise
exactly
to come
right.
down
Yeah,
this way.
it just takes a couple seconds. That's right.
So appreciate you taking the time. Jacob's a very busy dude. Like I said, he just had his, how many years he's been doing that at the Strand? 3?
We've been playing at the Strand for Strand Marietta for almost 9 years now.
Yeah, but you've done the Eagles return show 3 years.
Oh no, we've done it every year since we've been
Have
there.
you really?
Yep.
Well, I saw it last year, and other than the original Eagles, it's the best band I've ever seen. So, welcome, Jacob, to the show.
Thank
and
you.
as much as I love music, we'll talk about some sports now.
Yeah, that's right.
Hold on, let me just ask one more music question.
Oh, yeah,
did
go
you
ahead.
do it? Did you do that in Kennesaw?
The recording?
No, the band. There was an Eagles tribute band
Oh.
in Kennesaw this year.
No, that was. I don't think that was us actually.
That's good because that band was not good, and I
Yeah.
just wanted to say that out loud because I figured it wasn't.
Just for clarity's
yeah,
sake.
just for clarity.
Yeah, just for clarity's sake, it's our show is called To the Limit. So if you see any other ones, that's not us. But the one that we have is called To the Limit.
To the limit.
It's phenomenal. I heard nothing but rave reviews from Friday night. All right, let's get into sports. We have the Fall Classic taking place right now. Both games went 7 games. And what happened for the first time ever in the Fall Classic? Do you know this?
What?
Neither one of the top 4 seeds. What?
Oh
No.
yeah, that would have been a good one to guess.
The last 2 games were won on the
By
road.
the road team.
On the road.
On the road. That have never happened before.
Gotcha.
What did-
I'm just glad I was right and that the Phillies and the Astros are all at home.
Right.
Not that I predicted it. I was just hoping for it. a whole
Sean's
bunch.
doing the happy dance.
Yeah. that looked actually a little pornography. But
Pornographic?
Yeah,
No.
pornographic.
Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah.
Wasn't all the AL championship series all won on the road?
All games won on the road.
Not a single home game team won.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
crazy.
And I learned another stat today that the Arizona Diamondbacks, you know what their run differential was during the year?
Was that?
Minus 17.
Wow.
Minus 17, and they were like the 7th seed or 6th seed and wind up in the World Series.
Right, but you know what they do is what everybody talks about. It's getting hot at the right time.
Yep.
You know, there's 32 teams in baseball and football and hockey and basketball, and everybody pays as much money as they can to the best players,
Right.
and they hire the best coaches they can find, and they can hire the best scouts they can find. So everybody's vying for the same thing. You know, when you break it down, if everything worked out perfectly, every team should win 3 titles every 100 years.
Yeah.
So Tom Brady's completely screwed some teams
Right.
over for this current century. But you know what the Diamondbacks did? You know, they're trying to get here, but they just got hot at the right time. Are they that good? I saw something.
84 games they won, right?
I
Yeah.
saw something right before the playoffs started, or right before this round, the last round, the AL and NLCS,
Right.
and it was Phillies were the 3rd highest payroll in baseball.
Yep.
Rangers and Astros were like 7th and 8th.
Yep.
And then the Diamondbacks at 22.
Right.
It's like
It really,
I'm rooting for them.
you have to. I mean,
do.
I don't get down with this entire system that we currently have right now, where I really do feel like baseball is a rhythm sport more than anything
It is.
else. And if you're not playing during those wild card games, I really do feel like you are losing steam and you're losing the timing. You could sit and take live BP off of AAA pitchers, but it's not gonna translate to the game whenever you get into the divisional series. you know?
Absolutely.
And as Miami Sound Machine saying, the rhythm is going to get you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And they got out of it. That's for sure.
But,
because the Braves, by far, most talented team on paper.
Yeah.
In baseball.
Clearly, but even though baseball screwed this up from the standpoint that the 1 seed should have played the 6 seed
Yeah.
and the 2 seed should have played the 4
fifth,
seed,
yeah.
at the end of the day, what you're doing, what does Atlanta get for winning and dominating? They
Right.
get the hottest team in the sport.
Right.
Because whoever's coming in with that last ticket,
Right.
man, they've been playing like the playoffs for the last 6
6
weeks.
months, that's right.
And it's like, hey, you've been coasting for 3 months now, but here you go. You know,
Right.
it's the way the sport's set up.
And
So
baseball's not getting rid of the wild card because they make way too much money.
Absolutely.
And it's not going away. And it's just a real bummer because the Braves could have played the playoffs 6 months out of the year or 5 months out of the year. Let's just maybe scratch the last month when they were kind of teetering a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and they had already basically won everything they needed to win to get to the playoffs. Like for 5 months, you could have put them into the playoff system, and they'd have wiped everybody.
Everybody.
But that 1 month, that one week and 1 month was all they needed.
that's it.
So yeah,
That's it.
And now here we go. 2 teams out west, Texas and Arizona for the World Series. What? And both played 7 games. Both teams retired. Their pitching staff's probably semi-depleted.
Right.
When do they start again? Tomorrow night?
Because both of these teams did have to play that first round. They're in the wild card.
That's right.
This is already their 3rd round,
Yep.
unlike what would have been for the Braves or whoever.
Dodgers. Yeah.
Yeah. So who you got, Robert?
The Rangers have done their absolute best to buy a World Series. They've gone out and they went out and they got
Scherzer.
Simeon.
Yep.
Well, Scherzer was a late addition. But they added all these pieces before the season started, and
That's true.
a few of them fell off. And then when they were really hot in June, they went out and they got who's the
Evaldi?
no, the huge lefty from Cuba, closer. Played for the Yankees.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
He throws 100. He always throws 100. But they went out and got him in June. They added these pieces. The whole time. So they're clearly the better roster.
Yes.
What that gets them, I don't know. But I'll be rooting for the Diamondbacks just from the standpoint they were in the 20s in there.
Yeah.
It's what everybody wants to feel like. Braves were, by the way, Braves 10th highest payroll. So.
Right.
Everybody else was a lot higher than
Right.
except for these.
Yeah. Except for these guys. I don't know. I want to say that the Diamondbacks are going to win it. That's who I want to win. I just think that the Rangers are going to do it in probably 5. Like I think they're just going to. They had positive run differential throughout the year, which I know it's an anomaly. I know it's a stat, but it's a real thing. They can put a lot of runs up, and that's what's going to happen. Because I just don't think Diamondbacks have enough pitching, especially on the back end.
Well, what happened to the Phillies in the last few games happened to the Braves. Their bats went dead. I mean, they didn't hit the 6 and 7 home runs a game they were hitting the first part of the series.
Well, and everybody was talking about, Diamondbacks are a new age team. They're very young.
They are very young.
They want to run a lot and this and that.
Right.
They hit a lot of home runs. That's why they're here.
Yeah.
They took the same page that the Phillies stole from the Braves, and
Right.
hey, how are you going to get here? We're going to hit so many home runs that it won't matter.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's kind of cool to have new blood in there, isn't it?
It's phenomenal what the Astros have done when you think 7
Oh, yeah.
straight.
Insane.
Break out the almanac next time you're at home. I call it the Bible, but that's a different story. Break out the almanac and just start going through AL World Series or AL or NLCS and find another team that's been to 7 in a
Straight.
row.
Yeah, that's insane.
Championship series,
That's
yeah.
now they got 2 titles, 1 tainted, 1 not tainted.
Right.
But a lot of appearances. So yeah, I'm okay with a little new blood going on there.
Yeah, me
I don't
too.
need to see 'em.
it makes it more interesting, I think, for the fan. I don't think for the major networks they're happy
you got
about
that.
They're not
about
happy about
Texas
this at
playing
all.
Arizona.
I had a buddy text me that earlier. Although, and you're absolutely right, and I don't want to mix words. You are absolutely right. But Arlington is the fourth biggest market in the country, so
They at least have
they
that.
got one. They got one of them. They just they got the. Did you know what is the largest state capital in the country?
Austin,
Texas, or what is it?
Phoenix.
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, really?
So even there, it might not have the allure of the Red Sox or the Cubs or
Right.
something, but it is a big city. So
It's a big city, but you're not going to get like the national market.
No,
Like you're not going to
no.
get people in New York and Boston and San Francisco and stuff
Caring
watching
about the
this game.
Diamondbacks,
They
yeah.
don't. They
nobody
don't
in
care.
Seattle cares.
No. Baseball. Well, baseball died with me like literally a few weeks ago. So I had to catch myself up on the way over here as to where everybody was and what
Yeah.
everything was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I was so brokenhearted after the Braves just kind of flopped and didn't bring it.
I had somebody ask me. They were like, "Wow, you're wearing your Braves jacket. You're a huge fan." I was like, "Yeah, I'm wearing it because I might get dirty today," and I decided this is the jacket that needs to get dirty. That's a different story.
Well, I was very very surprised that the Phillies didn't win after their first two games. They were just killing the ball.
Yeah.
But kudos to the Diamondbacks. Kudos to the Rangers. And man, it'll be an interesting thing. When do they start? Tomorrow night?
I
First
believe
game?
Saturday.
I thought
Friday
it was
night.
Friday
It is
night.
Friday
Friday
night's
night. It
first
is
game?
Friday night. It is
Yep.
Friday night.
So we'll have a pretty good idea by next Wednesday. We don't know that it could be over, but
Right.
you said Texas in 5.
Yeah, I think Texas in 5.
I'd probably go Texas in 6. I think they. I think the Diamondbacks have done great to be where they are, but I think Texas has an edge.
I can't think of who it was. I'm watching him. I'm going Diamondbacks in 7, just like the only time they ever won a title. It was that little weak-hitting lefty that popped one over the Yankees shortstop's head in
In 2001?
2001. I was on the road with my Uncle Dan watching that game. I can't
That
remember.
man, that little man, Derek Jeter.
Over that little man's head. No, I can't remember. I can't remember. But yeah, I'll go D-backs just because.
Just why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Because they're not a threat.
Are you saying they're a well-oiled machine, though?
I'm telling you, Carroll is an incredible rookie.
He is.
I share on the show on a regular basis. I am a fantasy geek. I am a baseball fantasy geek.
Right.
I dominated, although I did not win my league this year. Lots of points being scored. That Carroll is unbelievable.
Yeah.
What he did his first 3 months. Forget about. Usually you hit the wall about 4 or 5 months into your rookie year because you're not used to that many games.
Yeah.
This kid didn't run into a wall. He just kept getting better with time. And if the Diamondbacks are smart, they're going to sign him to a really long contract really quick.
Yeah.
Well, the well-oiled machine was a reference in the segue into our first commercial. If we could do Express Oil Lube.
Well, you were all over that.
I was, yes.
There are a lot of places to get your oil changed in the Kennesaw area, but if you're looking for a personal experience, then stop in at Castrol Kennesaw Express Loop or Lost Mountain Express Loop. We'll always do our best to get you in and out quickly, safely, and without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operated business where you'll find Brian under a car or a hood at one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to help you maintain your new car warranty and keep your pride and joy running for the next 100,000 miles. We proudly offer Castrol products.
And we thank you, Brian Bristow, for being a sponsor of Three Guys Who Love Sports right here at Miller's Ale House every Wednesday.
I'm getting ready to have to go see him.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Larry, did you ever go see him?
We kept missing each other.
Oh, okay.
Still got to get it done.
And Larry's always going.
Well, there's just always going.
All right, so we move on to the wacky world of college football, which was probably never more wacky than it was this weekend. So,
I don't know. There was that weekend in 1982 where the band was out on the field and stuff like that.
Stanford and Cal.
That was a wacky weekend.
It was just a wacky game, but there were a
Okay.
lot of wacky stuff going
Do you
on
feel
this
like
weekend.
people just storm the field for the most random things now? It's not even really like
I
a
love
thing
it.
anymore.
I love it.
It's
You
like
know,
every time somebody wins, it's just like run on the field.
You know what I learned? It costs you $10,000 to storm the field. It costs the school $10,000 to storm the field.
the
That's
SEC,
first offense.
the SEC
First
charges
offense,
you
yeah.
$100,000.
Yeah.
And, they were talking about the game last year when Tennessee beat Bama and they
Right.
took down the goalpost.
Yeah.
And they followed the goalpost all the way down into
the river.
Boom, into the river.
Yeah.
And, is it worth it? If it motivates your fan base, it is.
Right.
If
That's a
you're-
drop in the
if
bucket to
you're-
these
if
universities.
You're the president
Yeah.
and you get to watch
For most universities.
100,000 people run around and, cut that check.
Well, I wanted to. I remember we were at the Liberty game. Remember, I wanted to rush the court, and they said, "No. We don't have that $10,000 check to
Right.
cover that."
Right.
So even basketball, yeah.
Yeah, Alabama and those type teams might look at that a little bit differently, but I completely see what you mean.
Yeah, KSU. All right, let's start with Penn State and Ohio State. Good defensive struggle or bad football teams?
It was good
Wake up.
defense.
Okay.
You
I think
so?
there's one really good player on that team who might be named Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
Outside that, I'm not sure what I'm looking at over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard some debate on the news. Some teams said they're just not both. They're both just not any good.
Well, what do we know? I mean, who have they played? That's the thing is I don't know who Ohio State is and Penn State have really played.
Ohio State now has beaten Notre Dame and Penn State, and they still got this big date at the end of the year with Michigan. But although they're doing everything they're supposed to do by checking that win column,
Right.
it's not impressive to this guy. So I don't know.
That's
I
what I'm
don't
saying.
know.
We're used to seeing like Ohio State games that are truly dominant.
You
You know what I mean? And I'm not
absolutely.
seeing that. I'm not
They're-
seeing that consistently across the
They're
board.
supposed to beat Illinois 42-3.
That's exactly right.
That's not what's happening.
That's not what's happening.
And Michigan is doing that, and they
Michigan
haven't
is
done
doing
that before.
Right.
correct.
Michigan is doing that.
So this is probably the best team that Harbaugh has had. Does that mean he's going to win the national championship and be coaching the Chicago Bears next year?
Yeah, maybe just to get away from all those allegations or whatever.
I don't know that they've played anybody though. So although they are winning all those games that you're
Right.
supposed to win by 40,
Right.
They're only playing teams that they're supposed to win by 40. So
If Georgia can win out, I really do feel like they have like just because they play in the SEC, there's like it's any game in the SEC can be serious. And even though we're talking about Penn State and Ohio State, like just as comparison, I don't see the same level of competition across the Big Ten at all.
I don't see it across the country.
Right.
I mean, this year is just really not that strong of a team out there, is there? Unless it's Michigan.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe it's Michigan. I don't know. As much as everybody likes to make fun of Georgia's schedule, that Ole Miss game's starting to look like a really big
Yeah,
game.
it
Now,
is.
how about Missouri? Missouri's not a bad football team.
7-1 or
Missouri-
something. Right?
I texted my buddies the other day. I said, at the end of this year, Missouri's going to probably end up being like the fourth best team from the SEC or something like
Right.
that. Bama, Georgia,
Right.
maybe an Ole Miss or something
Right.
like that. And when they line up these bowl games, the Citrus Outback Bowl, we'll take the fourth best team from this conference.
Yeah,
They're going to boat race somebody.
Yeah.
Missouri is going to take somebody behind a woodshed.
Yeah.
I don't know who they're going to play, but I'll take them minus the points right now.
And that's the reason why I don't really hate on what Georgia has been doing with. If you go back and watch the first time quarterbacks that's come through his system, first year that they have, he never opens them up until like game 6 or 7.
Talking about Carson Beck.
Yeah, he never does that. So like everybody was worried about, oh my God, we're our offense is limited. We're not doing all sorts of dynamic plays or whatever like that. And then he finally opened up the playbook just the other week, and we scored like a whole bunch of points. So
Correct.
I really there's some strategy there. I think that he does where he doesn't want to show stuff on film that people can go and
When
actually
they're playing the high school teams.
Yeah, exactly. So why do it? You know.
Ball is in the state.
Right. So like I just feel like he's just he's holding his playbook back a little bit just to
Maybe
give
so,
confidence.
But one thing I always like to point out about Carson Beck, he did not start a game for 4 straight years.
Right.
That's a long time. When you're a stud and you've been playing 6th grade, 7th grade,
that's
8th
it.
grade,
Yeah.
led your high school to everything, and now just sit there
Sitting
for
there watching.
4 years doing nothing. It's hard. Even when you're playing against Sisters of the Mary Virgin and everything else, it's hard to get ramped up and
Right.
be ready to roll. So
Right. But that's the reason why
he's
I think
now getting there.
And that's the reason why I think that you can trust, even though Georgia has been shaky for what people are used to seeing Georgia over the last few years. I think you can rely on Georgia being ready for that big game because they have played an SEC schedule that is far superior to everybody else. So even though you're going to have a Michigan that comes in that's really, really hot, really, really great, maybe
we've seen what happens to Michigan.
that's
at the
exactly
end of the
right. That's right. That's right.
In the past.
Yeah, and until I see different, I'm not gonna.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna believe
That's
different.
why Michigan is ranked second.
That's right.
Michigan
But
is
they
ranked-
are the Vegas favorite now to be the national championship.
There's two reasons why they're
Well, if
ranked second.
I were cheating, I'd be the Vegas favorite to win the national championship too.
Everybody does that. That's a bunch of crock.
Well, but at the end of the day, the AP poll did not rate them high to in the summer.
Right.
Didn't have them ahead of Georgia.
Right.
Can't jump them ahead of Georgia. And then at the end of the day, everybody remembers what happened last year.
Right.
And the year before.
Right.
And yes, this is not that Michigan team. But until you see a Michigan team show up and smack an
Yeah.
SEC school in the mouth,
Yeah.
it's still the same
I-
thing.
It's just what it's going to be. People are. Even the people on the on the committee. They're trained to think of the SEC a certain way, and until somebody gets off that mantle,
And next week is when the first
Correct.
ranks come out Tuesday night, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Halloween night.
Halloween night.
yeah,
So when you're looking at it and you got the 6 top teams are all undefeated.
right.
Yep.
And you say Michigan and Ohio State are playing each other
Yep.
and everybody else goes undefeated.
Right.
So who gets the shortest straw on that one?
I will say that the loser of the Alabama-Georgia game will get the short straw, because you're not going to not put an undefeated Florida State or an undefeated Washington not in the playoffs. I don't see a one-team loser getting into the playoffs this year, just because the conferences are so strong.
And I understand what you're saying, but even with
Yeah.
your loser of the SEC not getting in, there's still an undefeated team who won their conference who isn't getting in.
Right.
Okay, so if you have undefeated Ohio State, undefeated Florida State, undefeated Washington, and then you have one loss Texas and Georgia lost to Alabama in the SEC championship, then Texas is in and both SEC teams
So
are
why-
out.
Why isn't
No,
Oklahoma in,
yeah,
in
let's
that
just-
scenario?
Well, because in that scenario, Texas would beat Oklahoma in
a
the Big
rematch.
12 championship. Yeah,
And they'd give 'em the
and
nod.
and at that point, Alabama and Georgia would both be out.
Now, they might get in over Texas,
But
over
if-
a one-loss
They
Texas.
shouldn't get in over
but
Texas
I don't think they'll get in over
Texas
no-loss
beat Alabama.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
But this is where I believe you're wrong on that scenario, because that scenario leaves us only with 4, or actually only 3 undefeated.
Yes.
So as soon as there's only 3 undefeateds, the other one's going to the SEC. It's going to the SEC. It doesn't matter if Texas redoes that game against Oklahoma. People are going to look at that schedule and be like, "Dang, did you see that game Oklahoma in Game 6? Week 6? Whoa, it's just not
But
going to happen."
if Texas beats Oklahoma again,
Yep.
Texas has already beaten Alabama, and Alabama beat Georgia. So Texas is better than Alabama,
I understand your
and therefore they're also better than Georgia.
I understand your point, but if we're thinking that Oklahoma is equal to Georgia or that the Big 12 is equal to the SEC, it's not. When you hold up that Dr. Pepper SEC championship game, punch your ticket, buy your stuff. And I understand you're absolutely right on paper where you can't have Bama go in front of Texas in the snare, but they would, absolutely. And I personally don't think a one-loss, if Georgia only loses one game and it's in the SEC championship game, I don't care who Texas comes back and beats and overcomes. That they're not in that. They're not in that.
But
thing.
would they get in over a no-loss Michigan, a no-loss Washington, and a no-loss FSU?
If what? If
If those 3 teams go undefeated, Alabama beats Georgia, Alabama gets in, right? Does Georgia get in too over those 3 undefeated teams?
no, if everybody's undefeated, I think the SEC will only get one team.
Well, then you're leaving out. I
There's
guess
all sorts of. teams
You're
who
you're
do that.
leaving out Texas.
you're leaving out
Correct.
Texas, who also beat
Which-
Alabama.
Which, just for the hypothetical, Texas is still behind Oklahoma, so
Yeah, let's
Yes.
worry
Yes.
if Texas beats Oklahoma, then we'll go with that scenario.
Correct.
Right.
But without Ewers, I mean, I don't know how long is he supposed to be out? They got a tough game this weekend in Kansas, where Kansas may take it to Texas. They play Oklahoma, right?
It's supposed to be Archie Manning
How
So-
many teams?
is the rumored starter this week.
Right. I gotta say that one of these teams, either Washington or Florida State, is gonna fall. One of them is going to lose out at
Include
some
Oklahoma
point.
in that one.
Yeah, one of those teams are going to lose in the last half of the season here, and and then this is going to make
At least
the
two out of three, I would guess.
Right, and then that's going to make the two SEC because as soon as that happens, the two SEC teams
Start looking a little better.
start looking a lot
Well,
better.
what do you think about Georgia? You think Georgia's got a chance to lose? They've got Missouri.
Listen, anytime you
without Brock
yeah,
Bowers.
yeah,
They've got.
You got to-
I don't think they'll lose this weekend in Jacksonville.
But many people think that, and I can remember a game about 6 years ago where Florida went run left,
Yeah.
run right. They passed the ball 4 times and rushed for 600 yards
Yards.
against the Dogs. So,
Yeah.
so that game has its own
Georgia
mind of its own.
To me,
sometimes.
Georgia has the most treacherous path.
There's no doubt about it.
And whether that gets rewarded if they have only one loss in the SEC championship or not, I don't know. But but I will say that they do have the hardest path, just schedule wise.
From now forward.
Yeah.
I think if Georgia makes it to the national championship game undefeated, they're in the Final Four. That's what I think enough of these other teams between Florida, between the ACC, the PAC, and the Big 12, I think at least 2 of those 3 teams will probably lose.
Well, Carolina
Well,
got took down a notch this weekend
Yeah.
by
Yeah, yes, they
Virginia.
did.
History
Yes,
would
they did.
history would, by the way, prove us right.
Oh, absolutely.
If you look at recent history, last 10 years, everybody who's currently, whatever these other conference teams that we just mentioned, like one of them, 2 of them, 3 of them generally lose in some sort of tragic 4th overtime fashion, and then that writes their season.
So when Penn State gets off the mat and knocks Michigan out, but then Michigan boat races Ohio State,
Which
Right.
they won't.
Does anybody get in from the Big?
I mean,
I don't see
if
somebody
Georgia's
not getting in from the Big Ten.
Yeah, somebody has to, right? I mean, so if Florida State goes undefeated, and Georgia goes undefeated, and Washington goes undefeated, you're not taking a 2-loss Alabama team. You can't.
No,
So-
if Alabama
But you
loses
can take undefeated
any other
Oklahoma
game,
at
they're
that
done.
point.
Right, exactly. I think undefeated Oklahoma starts making a lot more sense than a 1-loss Big Ten
Undefeated
team.
always makes a good
You know,
argument.
you know who Chris is, the Bear that used to be on Game Day.
Yeah.
Sure.
Whatever his last name is
Yeah.
now on Fox or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, he said he put his money on right now
Who's that?
Oregon. He said Oregon's a good football team. He said they're going to come back and they're going to beat Washington in the
Oregon is-
Pac-12.
They are a good football team, and that's one of the games.
The
that
one-loss games, yeah.
that's all it's going to take because there's just too much. There's too many bigger, stronger market,
But
better teams.
Isn't this what we love about college football?
It's crazy. It's always crazy.
You look at these teams, and I would imagine there's no more than 2 undefeateds
At the end of the year,
after after the title games.
after the
title
conference
games.
championships, yeah. Okay. All right, and you think those 2 are?
It's got to. I mean, Florida State seems to have a really easy path, right? I mean, surely.
North Carolina's all they got left, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they go undefeated. I mean, maybe North Carolina
do.
gets off the mat and does it, but if they do knock them off, then that clears up things a lot.
I think there's 3. I think it's Ohio State, Georgia, and Florida State.
You think those
Because you don't think Michigan. Yeah, I don't think Michigan's going to beat Ohio State.
Michigan is going to pummel Ohio State.
Michigan isn't going to beat Ohio State. I mean, we saw
Captain Khaki with 3 in a row? Oh, come on now.
No, I listened to a podcast and they made a really interesting point that Michigan was doing all this sign stealing and the scouting, and then they got to the
Right.
college football playoff where you don't know who you're going to play, so you can't send everybody to every conference championship game.
You can if you're one of those schools
But
because they
they-
have a lot
I mean-
of money.
Yeah.
But it's odd that they go undefeated in the regular season and then they get to the playoff and suddenly they
But
get
sent
boat raced
somebody-
by Georgia
but
and they
sent
get
somebody
boat
to the
raced by
Georgia game the
TCU.
same way they did everybody else.
No, they sent somebody to the Georgia Ohio State game.
Yeah.
Assuming they would make the national championship. They didn't send somebody to the SEC championship game.
But on the play where they talk about C.J. Stroud
Yeah.
and looking over and seeing that, you know what Ohio State did on that play? They scored a touchdown. So this is blown way out of proportion what's happening at Michigan. It happens at every freaking school in
Yeah.
the country.
Yeah.
Everybody goes out and scouts teams. Whether they videotape them or not,
Right.
they go out and they scout teams.
Yep.
It's people that hate Michigan
Right.
No,
They
no,
wanna- they
it's
wanna
it's
make this-
it's people that
and we'll go with that line of theory. Except for one thing. Are you telling me Captain Khaki doesn't think he's smarter than everybody else? And isn't,
will never
and,
tell
no,
you that.
And doesn't think that he is cheating. He knows where the line is, and he knows he's going past it every time, no matter what he's doing, because that's who he is.
it's
That's-
blatantly
that-
against NCAA rules.
And that's why every time at the end of the year when he goes, I'm leaving Michigan, and everybody
And
in
it
the
will
pros
not
goes,
matter to
we're
this
not
team."
interested.
It may not.
yeah.
It may not matter, but it's blatantly against NCAA rules. So
I think they just got sloppy doing it, but I don't think it's something that no other team.
I mean, they
doesn't
were
do.
they
You
were
gotta be
terrible
cleaner.
at doing
You
it.
got to be cleaner when you're cheating.
The
Just
the
talk
guy
to
the guy posted
Darth
it
Hoodie.
on his LinkedIn profile, for goodness sake.
If you talk to Darth Hoodie up there in Foxborough, he'll tell you all about
Darth
taping
Hoodie.
things and
that's
taking
good.
air out
All
of
right.
balls, and
All right,
gotta be careful.
All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of being careful, let's get on to our next commercial
Mr.
with
Jameson,
Alvin
I believe.
Jameson.
Hey, Alvin Jameson here, the mortgage guy. Are you looking to get pre-approved for a home loan? Or maybe you want to build a house from the ground up? Are you curious, or better yet, is your significant other on your back about making renovations in your current home? Call me. I have options for you. All self-employed individuals. Are you torn between writing off all your income or having to show your income to qualify for a house? I have a third alternative for you. Whether you're a W-2 employee, self-employed individual looking to do a purchase or pull money out of your current house, or better yet, we can't forget the investors out there. If you have that high interest rate, hard money loan and looking to refinance out of it, again, give me a call. I have options. Below are the states that I'm personally licensed in. Call me, 404-587-9033. Again, 404-587-9033. Visit the website, alvinjameson.com.
Sure.
Hold on. Give us another commercial. We're still arguing about this isn't over.
No, it's not over. But
I
was
demand
it-
the Big Ten championship from last year.
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
hell no.
Thank you.
All right. So let's move on to some pro football, and there's going to be some discussion here too.
Oh,
How can you carry a ball into the end zone so loosely and get it knocked out at the 6-inch line?
you know, I remember when I was young, and whenever somebody was an idiot with a ball, they used to always say he carried it like a loaf of bread. I
Right.
can assure you, loaves of bread were really expensive, and nobody was carrying a loaf of bread like
Right.
Mr. Ritter does.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Did you
His-
like my little pun? Are you ready to get
Absolutely.
Ritter Desmond?
I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take to get that next quarterback out on the field. I've seen it.
There's no other quarterback. I mean,
There's
There's Taylor
Heineke.
Heineke.
There's always another quarterback.
Give me Taylor Heineke.
no, come on, man, really?
I'm a Cowboys fan, and I want Taylor Heineke.
Hey, hold on a second. Taylor Heineke went to the playoffs and won a playoff game,
Right.
With Washington.
throwing a ball.
Right.
Throwing a ball.
Right.
Is that not better than what you're seeing?
I'll tell you right now, it's not. Like, it's
And
just
Jacob
not.
talks about it on his Facebook page too.
Yeah, I mean, I am not a Desmond Ritter fan. I'm not on the train, but I'm just telling you, they're not going to change quarterbacks unless he gets hurt or they figure out there's enough of an injury that, like, oh, we're going to sit you for the last couple of games. Forget about it. This guy's in it for the long haul for the rest of this year. They're not
But
getting
why?
rid of him. Why? Because they didn't do their due diligence last year. They thought they could win, and
they sat him almost the whole year.
I know, and that was stupid. They should have got rid of Mariota after Game 5, even though we were doing well, like statistically, or like we had a berth of like we won a few games in the very beginning. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. Like, if you have a third-round draft pick of a quarterback, and he's sitting there on the bench, and you know that he's the heir apparent, and
that's a scary word.
I know it is. I know it is. But there's nobody else in the organization, so you know that he is going to be the next one in line. Like, you've already made that decision because you drafted him in the third round.
He's my future backup.
Well, I couldn't agree more.
Not
But
heir
like,
apparent.
but I'm saying, well, I mean, to Mariota he was. So I'm saying that you should have had the responsibility and the vision, but. To put him in after Game 5 or 6 last year, so you got a whole year to know what you're going to do in the offseason. They didn't do that. they had spotches of things. They're like, well, maybe if we keep working on him, maybe he'll come around to being a decent game manager. And yeah, and he's definitely not doing that. So what I'm saying is they're going to lie in this bed for the rest of the year. That's just what they have to do.
You know,
and then in the next year, what's going to happen is you're gonna realize that you had a really good defense this year. You have some unbelievable skill. They have a
better defense than they've had in a long time.
but they have enough of a defense now and enough offensive skill set players, minus a couple of maybe offensive linemen that they need
Until Bijan gets a headache.
The guy that says Hut.
yeah, exactly. So that'll really help. I'm just saying they're not. Arthur Smith is going to go find a veteran quarterback after this year. That's what they're going to do. They're not going to spend 3 or 4 first-round draft picks to go get some. They're not going to do another rookie thing.
I
they're
get
not going to do it.
and
Not this regime.
I've talked about that on the show for a long time. As far as this particular head coach believes he can grab Tannehill off of a scrap heap and turn us into that organization.
Well,
I just look at Ritter. Ritter didn't start Game 5 last year because he was awful, and the coaches knew that in practice. There's a reason why he didn't start until there's 4 games left in the year. And the only thing that possibly makes any sense is that Taylor Heineke looks horrendous in practice, because if he doesn't look horrendous in practice, there's no way you can have 2 fumbles inside the 1 yard line, 3 inside the 20, and this is coming off of the week before.
I know, 3 interceptions or whatever.
My buddy's like, hey, he didn't throw any picks. That's because he fumbled the ball every time. He never had a chance to throw a pick.
And I don't think
it's so bad.
Fumbles happen, and
they do.
But it's the way they happen that disturbs me.
And also,
if you're running in the end zone, he's carrying the ball in his right hand. He's going left. Put the ball in your left hand.
Right.
Protect it with your body, and don't let Whitehead?
Yeah.
Winfield Jr. reach over and knock it out while you're running in. It's that simple.
It is that
if
simple.
you have to fall down at the 1 foot line with the ball,
dive into the end zone with both your arms around the ball.
I didn't make it in the end zone, but I didn't fumble the ball, and it's our ball at the 1 foot line, Coach. We'll take that.
We'll take that. The truth is, though, they're not going to get rid of him. They're going to lay in this bed because they made it. And
I understand what you're saying, because I have a bunch of friends, Paul Chop, who keeps telling me the same garbage over and over and over. This is all I'm saying is he's a 3rd round pick. You're a Falcons fan. We don't do anything good with our 3rd round picks. Not like we're the Steelers, where it's like, well, we might get Jack Ham or something. We're not getting anybody good in
Robert,
the 3rd round.
Is he getting better?
I don't see it. I mean, we're talking about a game where a guy just fumbled the ball twice inside the 1 yard line. One of the greatest quotes, I used it last week on the show, but I'm going to use it one more time. Do you know what the greatest quote ever is?
Was it the one about how Peyton Manning threw like 20-something interceptions in his first year and then came out to be a Hall of Famer? Because somebody tried to use that on me with Desmond Ridder, and I was like, dude, I'm just not seeing any dynamic plays down the field. That's the really biggest issue. It'd be one thing if he's doing these errors, but you're seeing these spurts of like unbelievable accuracy down the field. You're not really seeing that on a consistent basis.
But he's getting these other guys involved. Look, he hit Kyle Pitts for this long touchdown that set up the winning field goal.
Right.
He drove us when we won one against Green Bay.
He's got more fourth quarter comebacks so far, but we shouldn't be coming back in the fourth quarter with the skill players that we have.
We should have won the game by 10.
We should be winning the game.
Correct. We should be winning.
So I don't like that stat at all. I'm like, whatever.
And anybody who's comparing Ritter to Peyton Manning needs to start watching
football.
New Zealand women's cricket, because you don't understand the current sport that we're talking about.
I don't think Peyton Manning ever threw a back-footed floater into the end zone right to a Commander's defender.
And he also wasn't signing autographs. Oh, wait, he was signing autographs in 8th grade.
That's
Peyton
right.
Manning got this big head. No, the stat the thing I was looking for I just found it. You ready? It's a John Heisman quote. Gentlemen, it is better to have died as a small boy than to fumble this football.
Right.
That's what Heisman used to tell his team. You'd be better to fall through a lake at age 7 than to make your whole family. But is it? Because that's the type of this is what
That's why
football
there's a
is for
trophy
the
named
last.
after him.
That's right.
This is what has
Right.
been going around for 100 years in football, and we're asking the question: is he getting any better? No.
he's-
if you're fumbling the ball inside the
Yeah.
one, no, this is
Heineke-
clearly getting worse.
Heineke just isn't as athletic, and the way they
He's
have.
definitely not.
Yeah, and how the offense is set up, he's going to get rocked.
But
He's going to get rocked more than Ritter is.
And this is my thing. I don't see Ritter running the way everybody tells me Ritter's going to run.
Right.
Now, he's got a few 8-yard touchdown runs
Right.
that were designed
Right.
very easy. I see Ritter can't handle a play action I think Heineke can handle that. If you
Right.
go Algiers, Bijan, Algiers, fake to Bijan, Pitts is wide open. I think Taylor can handle that.
Yeah.
250 yards he had this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
he
threw
played
to-
decent.
he-
He
he-
fumbled
he
the ball.
didn't-
But
he-
he handled
he-
the ball well, other than fumbling.
Yeah.
Well, but I used to love signing Tony Romo to my fantasy team, and everybody said he's the worst quarterback in the world. Well, he got me lots of fantasy points. So,
Right.
250 yards, is that good if you're fumbling the ball constantly?
I was
you know?
surprised to read that stat, honestly. Like I was like, wow, he actually threw for two, because that's been my biggest argument so far. Is like he's not getting the ball, but you know what? They're getting lots of run after catches. They're not getting the balls
The-
that stretch
the
the
deep ball,
field.
yeah.
Well,
And-
that's because the ball only gets thrown from me to you. It's literally
Right.
like a
That's what I'm
7-foot
saying.
pass.
And that's the real difference. We're basically, I would have a lot more of a positive outlook about Ritter if they were throwing. I was seeing 20-something yard completions.
Absolutely.
1 or 2 a drive or something of at least 1 a drive. I would be a lot more like, okay, well, there's obviously potential to throw the ball farther than 7 yards
my
or
biggest
less.
biggest problem with this offense, and I love the Falcons. I wear their clothes,
Yeah.
I wear their jackets. I stick out like a sore thumb.
Right.
I don't know how good Pitts and London are because my quarterback play is so bad.
Well, I think
so.
you-
Now I'm getting ready to go into year 3
Yeah.
with Pitts and year 2 with London.
I think you've seen enough.
But he's spreading the ball around
Yeah,
between
I-
those guys. And Jonnu Smith,
Jonnu Smith should never get the ball thrown to him. He's getting 9 targets. I'm sorry, 5 more to London, 4 more to Pitts. This is a guy who
what
came
if
off.
they're doubling Pitts and
Well, they
Jonnu
started
Smith
the-
is open?
well,
Then Robinson should. There's somebody else besides Jonnu open.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
I get that, but they've actually been a lot better about those targets the last 2 weeks.
They
if
have.
you look
They've
at the
gotten
stat,
better the last 2.
They heard the criticism online and everywhere else, and
But they
probably
don't-
on this show.
But they don't read that. Thank
Of
you
course,
for that
on
plug.
this show. Yeah. We're getting in some tiffs here today.
Well,
This is pretty cool.
It's Ritter.
like
I
that,
mean,
yeah.
God, I want to win.
Well, let's move on because there's some other things that happened in the NFL they want to talk about. What happened to the 5-1 Detroit Lions? They got smoked by Gus, what's his name, who killed me. in
Gus
fantasy football,
Edwards.
Gus Edwards.
Yeah, and I still lost.
Did you not win?
No, you won.
I thought you beat me.
No, you had CMC.
Did he
CMC had like 24.
Oh, so I beat
He
you
went
like
off.
3 points?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I thought I lost. Oh, cool. All right.
Well, you always see with the Lions, this is something that you see every single year in the NFL. There's that team that comes out super hot, and then you get enough game film, right? You get enough footage that you know what they're going to do, and then teams adjust, and then it's up to you to adjust beyond that.
Well,
a little bit.
Right. And so at 5, 6, 7 games in, you know what people are going to do.
But them not having Montgomery is what's killing their
That's
offense.
what hurt them,
that's
definitely,
actually
yeah.
really true.
And how about New England beating Buffalo? How cool that must have been for Belichick.
That's the
how
reason
about
why-
Minnesota
Right.
beating San Francisco again?
And this is the
How
reason
about the
why.
Browns?
Yeah, exactly. How about
That
the
was
Browns?
a fun ball game to watch, the Browns and the Colts.
Any given Sunday. That's what I say every time I look at the scores at night just to see what I missed or see who won. I feel like NFL more than any other sport is literally every week there's a toss up, and that's the reason why they get so much ratings. It's the reason why they, everybody. It is the most dominant sport in.
It is.
It's because any given Sunday, it's like you're just flipping a coin. There's going to be nobody always wins that you expect to win, and it could be the most random matchups that you would,
Even when it's your double pick.
yeah.
Shut up.
What I say?
Oh, hey.
No, it's crazy. There were so many good games this week, and I don't know. I mean, Broncos finally won one. Packers stink. We all kind of thought that. I know a couple people thought Love was possibly the future answer, but I don't think Love's the real deal. I don't think the
I'm
Giants
not
are
in
going to
love
win.
with love.
I don't.
Not anymore.
No.
Were you ever?
Yeah.
Were you?
How about Badgett being a starting quarterback?
I just want to know what type of blackmail Brian Hoyer has on Josh McDaniels. I just want to know.
Because
He's terrible. He is a objectively terrible quarterback.
And just to know,
why was he in it for four quarters?
ATI is not objective on this one because the
Nope.
backup quarterback
Went to Purdue.
Went to Purdue, and so that's what he's hoping for. But he's absolutely right because when you look at that box score, or if you were able to watch any of the game, he shouldn't have been in there.
O'Connell came in and on his second drive drove them all the way down the field and scored a touchdown. And Josh McDaniels comes on in the post-game press conference and says, well, it's not preseason anymore. But you started him 3 weeks ago in L.A.
Right.
ATI is all Purdue.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
Well,
I just don't understand.
And this is you can't do stats the way I'm getting ready to break them down or to throw them out there. Hoyer was just over 50%, 17 for 32. And then once the game was away and O'Connell got in there, O'Connell was 10 for 13. And I realized we can't give them all that credit because they
this
were
is
already
garbage time.
Prevent the win defense
Yes.
and all that other stuff. But man, I'd be really surprised if they don't run them out there.
They
give
should.
at least give him like 50% of the snaps in practice to see who kind of shakes it out for this. I mean, right? You got to do that.
Or but even so, if you look better than me in practice, and I've seen you in person 16 times,
Right.
and you suck every Sunday,
Yeah, right.
You might look better than me in practice, but I might just go with Chuck anyway on for the sake of doing something different. I don't know.
They always say these things like I hear coaches say this all the time where you go with a quarterback, and if you change the quarterback, then it changes the culture and all this kind of stuff. I've never been in an NFL or NCAA football locker room or anything that nature. Even in the high school level, like I was never in that type of locker room. So I don't really know how much. I'm sure there's truth to it to some
There
degree.
is, but when there's an injury like there was for the Raiders
Right.
with Garoppolo going down, you don't have to worry about messing with hey, I'm just going with this guy.
Right.
Going with this guy until he gets healthy.
Right.
I don't know.
All right, speaking of going with this guy, we need to go with Dan Fisher and get our American Access commercial out of the way.
Hey-o.
It's time for picks.
Man is ready to swing an axe, let me tell you. Tired of going to the same old places for the same old thing? American Access has your solution. Whether you're looking for something new to do before or after the game, bachelor or bachelorette party, or something new to do when you have guests in from out of town, American Access with their 3 Atlanta locations in Marietta, Tucker, and now in downtown at The Works, they've got your something different coming. Look us up at American Access or give us a call at 678-763-3635 to schedule your next adventure.
And thank you, Dan Fisher, for being the sponsor of the picks on the Three Guys Who Love Sports show.
Does Dan know he's got your favorite segment?
He does, yes.
And if he watched last week, he'd see, everybody's fighting over the axe.
Everybody wants to chop the axe.
Everybody wants to beat that axe down on a table or something. So.
Well, speaking of time to beat the axe, it is time to beat the axe. Let's make our picks for this week. We'll start with the college games. It was very hard to pick some good games this week.
Yeah, but you took your homer pick right there off the bat. So let me go ahead and I'm going to take Oklahoma.
Oklahoma minus 9.5 at Kansas.
Yeah.
I just think.
Oklahoma. Go ahead.
Tia.
Oklahoma might be the fakest team in the country. Give me Kansas.
Whoa!
Kansas plus the points.
Hot take.
All right.
Hot take.
They didn't look
How
good
about you,
last
Mr.
week.
Jacob?
I'll go with Oklahoma. I don't see anything with Kansas that's going to really. I don't disagree with you, by the way, but I also don't think they're going to
Is
lose
this
to
March
Kansas.
Madness? Okay, then I'm going against Kansas.
Right.
You're going to take Kansas? Oh, you're going to take Oklahoma to win?
Absolutely.
To cover
yeah.
the 9.5?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they'll cover the 9.
Unless it's March Madness, and then I'm taking Kansas plus 9.5.
Right.
Woo!
Right. Exactly.
Going to the Final Four.
Again, Kansas was my sleeper team last year. They're playing pretty good this year. What, they have
Very good.
1 or 2 losses?
5-2.
I don't know.
5-2. That's
5-2.
right. And they've played some good ball games at Lawrence. And I think after watching Oklahoma against UCF, Dylan Gabriel was not that impressive. UCF came in there and pretty much handed it to them. They had a chance to win that ball game. And before I forget, the Houston and Texas game, worst marking of a ball I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
life.
That was horrendous.
In my life. Houston had a chance to win that game, and they took it away from them,
Yep.
or at least tied the game up. So, other than that, I think Kansas is going to cover. I don't think they're going to win. I think Oakland's going to win, but I'm going to give the axe
Oh,
to Oklahoma.
All
Oklahoma, they will not cover. They will win, but Kansas will come within the 9.5.
right.
And an interesting
That
fact.
sounds like a double.
Interesting fact. No. I'm going to throw darts for my double this week. The interesting fact I read about an Iowa game a couple of weeks ago. Wasn't when they beat Minnesota last week?
Yes.
Was it Wisconsin that they beat the week before?
Yes.
15-6.
Yeah, and you know what I'm going to say, Adam? Do you know what the stat was from that game?
What was the stat?
Iowa did not run one play inside the Wisconsin territory over the 50-yard line, and they won 15-6.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
I'm telling. I've been saying it for weeks. Iowa's offense is terrorism on grass. It is.
Yeah,
It is. They lost 12. They lost 12-10 to Minnesota. Minnesota kicked 4 field goals.
If a golden gopher ever shows you up, you probably need to try something new.
All right, I had to put the largest outdoor cocktail party on, even though they don't call it that anymore.
Right. They should.
Yeah, they should.
I mean-
have you ever been down to that?
You know, I haven't.
Have you, Robert?
If Olivia cancels on Skylar this week, and I'm going this weekend.
Oh, are ya?
Yeah, I was supposed to go with my daughter, and she's got a friend coming into town.
Okay.
There's
So
still a chance.
the Dogs laying 14.5 against Florida.
If I did not live in the state of Georgia, I would take Florida plus all those points because that is a lot of points for a rivalry game.
It is.
Like I said, you've watched this game before where a horrible Florida team rolls in and runs the ball for 500 yards.
Yep.
So I'll take the Dogs in a blowout,
Yeah.
but only because I'm rooting for that.
Right.
Adam?
Last time I took Georgia, I took Kentucky last time, and Georgia boat raced them.
They did.
I hate Georgia, so I'm gonna go Georgia, with the hopes that they don't get boat raced, or that they get boat raced by Florida, and Florida just blows them out.
Right.
Double reverse psychology in the poll
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was-
this will work that way.
That was a lot.
How about you, Music Man?
Georgia's going to win, but I don't think they're going to cover the 14.5. I think it's going to be a lot tighter of a game.
10-point game or
yeah,
something.
yeah, right. They'll win, and I don't think that they'll feel like that they're ever going to lose. I just think that they're not going to get to the 14.5. I mean,
31-24
Yeah,
something.
Exactly. Like, you win by 10 or something like that. You go home, you're happy, but like they're not going to get to the 14.5. I mean, I wish they would. I don't think that rivalry games still mean something in the South. Florida obviously doesn't have much to play for aside from this. So,
They do not.
Yeah, so I feel like that this is going to be one where, also too, we're still learning how to live life without Brock, so that's just what I think.
Is that like step 3 when, admit you have a problem?
That's right.
Step 4,
Right.
what do we do without Brock?
Yeah, I mean, basically, that's where we're at, right? I mean,
It's left, run right.
until they show us any real true difference,
Absolutely,
I think
absolutely.
it's reasonable to say.
Well,
You're right.
everybody hold on to your seats because
Oh, Lord.
Are you
Florida-
doing it?
Florida has not impressed me at all. I saw them play against South Carolina, and they struggled.
Right.
I am going to give the axe
Uh-oh.
to the Gators.
Wow.
I
Take
think,
a picture, Carrie. Take a picture of this man.
I think
That might be
Georgia-
the first time ever.
I
It
think
is.
Georgia will cover this. I just think Florida's that bad. I don't think they're good
They're
enough
not
to see
good.
it.
They're not
Yeah.
good.
No, they're not good.
So, Mom, forgive me. That's all I can say. All right, third game. We got the pre-mentioned
Mama
Ducks
tried.
-7
Mama
at
tried.
Utah.
Mama tried to raise you better.
She did.
Utah coming off the
Upset of USC.
yeah, the big win.
And, I took Utah before the season started to represent and win the pack. So this one-loss matchup, I'll take Utah. Won't be surprised if Oregon, beats them up. Their offense looks really good and
Right.
everything else. But I'll take the Utes.
Oregon has struggled the last 2 weeks. They struggled against Washington State last week.
They struggled early.
They did, but they
Not late.
put it on them late.
Yes, they did.
Utah came off a great win against USC, and you never really do well the week after a big win.
Yep.
And I've been saying that Oregon's one of the best teams in the country all year, so I'm going with the Ducks.
I knew who you were going based on.
Yeah, he literally took the words exactly out of my mouth. So to save time, I'll just simply say Oregon will cover and they will win.
I will say the axe goes to the Utes. These two Utes are not going to win this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, use.
So I'm going with the Ducks to win, the Utes to not come within the 7. Like I said, hard games to pick this week, but these are two top 25 teams. Duke laying 4 or getting 4 at Louisville.
I hate Duke. And does the quarterback for the Ravens, does he come back on weekends to play for his alma mater?
He should.
Their current quarterback's not very good, so yeah, I suppose.
I got to go Louisville. I don't think Louisville. I don't think I should say Louisville, but I hate saying the word Duke.
Right.
So,
Well, I had Duke plus 14.5 last week. And
I did too.
At the end of the fourth quarter, or in the third quarter, it's 2017 Duke. I said, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, right.
And next thing you know, it's 38-20. But I think Duke's not a bad ball club, and I think they will play better. And I'll take Duke plus the 4, so give the axe to
the home
Louisville.
team.
That's right.
Give the axe to Louisville.
That's right. I'll go Duke on this one. I'm not excited about either one of these teams. So I do think Duke is slightly better, but that's about it. Maybe the home team comes out and shows out, but I'll go Duke.
ATI?
I not a big Duke fan. Riley Leonard's uncertain this week, so that gives me some concern.
But
But Jeff Brom betrayed me, and I hate Jeff Brom for betraying me. But I'm gonna go Louisville.
All right. Fair choice.
So let's move up to the pros. The Bungles. Well, they getting 5.5?
Getting 5.5
at San Francisco.
out on the left coast.
Yeah, I think that's because Brock is
Shaky the last 2 weeks.
Yes, and also he's
Debo's out.
He's in concussion
Purdy.
protocol.
Oh, Purdy's in concussion protocol. I didn't
They
know
don't
that.
know.
Purdy might not play.
He might not play.
Debo's
Who's
out.
their backup?
Oh, I don't even know. Goodness, I should know this.
It's not Josh Johnson, isn't it? Everybody
No,
else
I don't
left
think
that
so.
team.
Their backup quarterback
Is it Darnold?
is Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, Darnold.
or Brandon Allen.
It'd
Probably
be-
Sam Darnold.
Probably
Sam
Sam.
Darnold.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad backup when it comes to backups.
I mean,
guess.
we've seen Shanahan pull rabbits out of the hats
Many
more
times.
more than once. I'll go Cincy on this one though.
Cincy plus the points.
Yeah. Oh well, I'll go Cincy by a field goal. How about that?
Well,
Fincy-
you're getting
Fincy-
5.5 points. So
Right. Yeah.
But you just say they're going to win outright.
Yeah.
ATI, go ahead, bud.
I love Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow might be my second favorite quarterback in the NFL right now. If Brock
But he's the
Purdy
only one who's
plays,
starting.
if Brock Purdy plays, I think San Francisco's got a pretty good chance. But I'm gonna go with Cincinnati.
Right.
I'm taking the Bengals as well. The Bengals were looking horrendous. I believe they were 1-3, won their
Yep.
last 2.
Yep.
They also just had a bye. You never want a week 6 bye or a
No.
week 7 bye,
But if you're going to get one, you might as well get it against San Francisco.
and you got it right before you're having to travel that 3,000 miles. So yeah, I'll take Cincinnati with the idea that we might see Mr. Darnold.
Right.
I can't see San Francisco losing 3 in a row. I couldn't see them losing 2 in a row. I certainly can't see them losing 3 in a row.
Uh-oh.
The axe goes to Bengals.
Wow. 4 of them.
Yeah. So,
You quadrupled down
My
on that
mother
one.
told me to pick.
all right. Tampa Bay plus 8.5 at Buffalo.
Bills look horrendous.
They change
Mike
every
Evans
week, though.
is still good. I gotta believe Buffalo after their last 2 horrible performances.
Bounce
Will
back.
the real Slim Shady please stand up?
Yeah,
so
right.
I'll take the Bills at home minus the 8.5. Although them Bucks look good. I'm just gonna say they can't run the ball, but Baker looks comfortable.
This will be one of those Josh Allen show ups where he'll throw
Yes.
for 40 something, 40 something points. So give me Buffalo.
ATI.
Baker Mayfield's played well this year, but James Cook's doing good. Gabe Davis is doing good. Stephon Diggs is doing good. Give me Buffalo.
The only play Tampa made last week was a 40-yard pass to Mike Davis for the touchdown against Falcons. Otherwise, Falcons shut them down.
That's right.
I can't see the Falcons going on the road and beating Tampa, and then Tampa going on the road and losing and beating Buffalo. Give me the axe to Tampa. I think Buffalo covers the 8.5.
But you know that's how the NFL works, right?
Absolutely.
Any given Sunday, baby. That's why I love it.
Well, I always like to say, they made a thing about pro football, any given Sunday. How about every given Saturday or
Right.
every given Friday night?
Right. Yeah.
Or
Every week now.
Tuesday night.
All right, let's speed through these last two. Jacksonville minus 2.5 at Pittsburgh.
Why would I pick little hands in the glove? Give me all that hair and sunshine.
That's right. Jacksonville, they'll show up and show out.
I imagine hell is like watching Pittsburgh play Iowa. That just seems like what hell is like. Give me Jacksonville.
Pittsburgh gets the act. I think Calvin Ridley will finally bust out and have a game. He almost killed me, Adam. When he only got 0.3 points from Bijan, I knew I had a shot, but I thought I had lost, so that's pretty cool. All right, the game of the week, probably the best game in the NFL this week, the Falcons at Tennessee, laying 2. Arthur Smith going home to where he coached before.
Yeah.
I'm just. Can you within just 20 seconds explain to me how that is the best game of the NFL this week?
Who's out? Who else is out there?
I don't know.
Cincy, San Francisco.
Yeah, right. It's because of Desmond Ritter for those at home.
Exactly.
You never know what you're going to get.
There's just not a lot of interesting games. I went and looked when I picked the 4 games. There's not that many winning teams playing winning teams this week. It's mostly winning team playing losing team, winning team.
Right.
Cowboys,
playing losing
Rams.
team. Yeah, I almost put
pretty-
them. The Rams are under 500 though.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Jacob.
I'm on the block first. Okay. There's always a lot of extra juice going back to where you used to work. I think Desmond's had 2 games where he tried to throw it away and then he tried to fumble it away. I'm going to say this week he gets it together. He acts like he's an actually legit quarterback in the NFL, and we're all left very confused at the next, even more confused than we were the previous 2 weeks. And the Falcons will win, and they'll win pretty handily.
ATI.
Derrick Henry's really good. Give me Tennessee.
Yep.
You heard it here first.
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Pre-game trade. Tannehill for Ritter. They're right there. They walk across the field. They change jerseys.
Nothing will
Tannehill
change.
comes out.
What is in your Coke?
Tannehill comes out throwing with the opposite arm because he's hurt,
Yeah.
and somehow wills the Falcons to victory.
I typically pick against the Falcons in situations like this because if I pick them, they lose,
Right.
and I want them to win.
Right.
But I'm going to pick them only from the standpoint that on our list, it was a minus 2-point game.
Right.
But looking over here, that spread's already gone up a half a point, which means there's a lot of people loving on them Falcons,
That's
and I
right.
do too.
Right.
So give me them Falcons.
I did too. Based on everything that Jacob said, it's time for Ritter to step up and play a full ball game.
That's right.
And I think he will. So I am going to give the axe to the Titans. And actually, I was supposed to go to this game. Me and my son were going to go to this game.
Oh,
He
man.
lives in Nashville, but medical
Yeah.
restrictions
What a
are
bummer.
not letting me go.
Right.
But I think he's going. But I will be watching, and I will be watching the Falcons clean clock over the Tennessee Titans.
That's right.
So, what a great show, guys. It was so
Oh,
much
man.
fun, Robert.
Always good.
Jacob, thanks, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Hey,
This is
thank-
fun.
Thank you for joining us,
Yeah.
and thank you for our theme music.
Oh, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, anytime. You know?
All right.
Yeah,
So,
anytime.
guys, again, thanks for coming out to the Miller's Ale House on a Wednesday afternoon, and stick around for the Owls show at 7 o'clock. And until then, know your numbers, cover your ass, get your prostate checked. We'll see you next week.
That's funny.